Hey guys, welcome back to HuckDiary. Today we're gonna have a pretty cool video. We're gonna use some foam, we're gonna cut it to custom fit inside this tank to level it and get rid of the tank wobble. As you can see, around corners you definitely don't wanna risk losing your balance just because the tank moves around. So we'll take care of that shortly. Stick around for the video and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. All right, so here's a quick shot of the before we even start. You can see how the tank dips down. Let me unhook it from here. You can see how the tank dips forward. What we're gonna do is we're gonna level it, bring it up so it's level from the inside, and also stuff it enough so you won't have this side movement. And I'll show you the before and after pictures. All right, so we gotta start by removing the tank first. So first thing you wanna do is you wanna come around to this side and loosen the little, apologize for the lighting. Loosen this, take it off. I like to put it in my pocket, or sometimes I'll just put it in there. Obviously make sure the bike is off. The second step to make it easy to work on, you can pull the seat backward, just lay it on its side here. Next thing you wanna do, there are two rubber things here that you can pull on, take off like that. There's another one on the other side. And just you gotta pull the tank slowly up and it's out. All right, so by the way, this is my second time creating or making this, this foam insert. I had already created one for my 32 amp battery, which is a lot smaller. So we're gonna go ahead and cut another one for my 72 volt 50 amp hour battery, significantly larger. So this is what I had created just to give you an idea. This is some padding to raise it, as well as the shape of the battery, or sorry, the tank from the inside, which we'll be recreating right now. Now for the second one, or the new one that I'm creating, I actually got thicker foam. So I'll go ahead and link this that got from Amazon. I'll go ahead and put the link in the description below. But I did end up going with a thicker one, hoping to level it better and have more control over that. So last time I actually ended up using the entire foam, so I'm interested to see how much I use this time around. So all you'll need, obviously you need the tank, measuring tape, and the foam itself, a box cutter, and maybe some tape. I did, on the old one, I did end up taping it together just so it's all together and easy to take off and swap out and stuff, so it's not little pieces moving all over the place. I did end up obviously using the entire roll, like I said, so there are a few pieces that are smaller in here, on purpose cut smaller because the tank kind of slopes down on the back a little bit. So I took some of the scrap pieces, put them inside, and then taped it up, which gave me that effect. Maybe I'll show you guys an after picture of the 32 amp battery foam that I did, just so you see how well that worked. All right, so first thing we want to do is be able to measure the inside of the tank, right? So the inside of the tank, in this case, is about 17 inches. However, we also need to account for the edges that go up. So 17, this is about 4, so 21 inches, and this is about 6. But we're not going to do the full 6 because we want to leave some room there, and the battery also will curve it. So we'll say total of 25 inches. So even though it's a little more, I'm just going to do 25 inches in length. So this foam that I got is 13 inches wide, which I had already pre-measured it. Should fit perfectly, so I don't have to cut any width. I only have to play with the length now. So, but just to show you, the width is about 7.5 inches, and then on the inside, the height is 6 and 6, so it's a little over actually, but you do want it a little shorter, learning from my first experience. So what we'll go ahead and do is measure, we said 25 inches, right? think we said 25 inches, yeah. So we're gonna measure 25 inches and then just cut across. So let's see. Put this closer. I have no idea how I look like in the camera, by the way, so, but who cares, right? This is all for learning purposes. So 25 inches here, I'm just gonna mark my cut real quick. And then on the other side as well, 25 inches and mark my cut. So once I mark my cut, then I'll go ahead and I'll grab a scrap piece of wood, connect the two. All right, so if you have a ruler, obviously that's better, but you just gotta use what you have at home. So the 25, that should come off easily. Just softly, not trying to cut through it too much, and then cut what's underneath it. Should come off easily. Again, this doesn't have to be the prettiest. Also make it pretty at the end, but it doesn't have to be the prettiest cut. This is all on the inside. So, quick test fit. This is tank. Push that in there. You'll see. We'll deal with the creases as well right now, but you'll see that the length is good. We'll take care of all the little bends shortly. All right, so now that we have that, what we need to measure for is the height, right? So the tank not only does it slope down in the back, but also from the inside, the front is wider than the back. So we'll have to account for that as well. So far what we've done is 25 inches in length. The roll already is 13 inches wide. So we don't have, that's perfect for now. So we don't have to do anything there. So our next step is to cut the edges like that. I'm literally marking it with my finger. Now, just to make it easy, I'm just gonna use the old template that I had and then cut over it. But basically what it is, I think if I remember correctly, it was a couple inches from each side. So 3 inches from here. So 3 inches from each side. And then the length of it is about 5 inches, so 3 by 5. So we'll go ahead and mark our cuts. 3 inches from here, and then 5. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect, right? We just want to make sure that it fits on the inside, and then it doesn't crumble inside and make it difficult to either fit or the tank be lopsided. We definitely don't want that. Let's go make the cuts. All right, so we'll use our super handy dandy scrap piece of wood here. We're just gonna cut until the 3-inch mark. And here as well. So make sure I'm gonna remeasure those as well once I cut them. I feel like I'm rushing a little bit, but this is quite a bit, right? This is not. All right, so this is 3 inches and perfect, 3 inches. So now we're just gonna reach for the edges here, align the end of the cut with the first mark that we did. Cut that side. All right, and then cut this side as well. All right, so what we're gonna end up with here is a few extra pieces that we might end up reusing, right? So don't throw these away just yet, put them to the side. We might end up using them to stuff the tank. So now the first cut that we did, this is gonna be towards the inside. So let me show you again. This is gonna be towards the front, sorry, not the inside. And then when you fold it inside, like that, like so, you can see how it perfectly kind of aligns in. And once we get the back done as well, it's gonna look better, but this is basically what we're trying to do. Any extra pieces that would have folded inside, gotten in the way, we wanna get rid of those. So now we have that side, now we have to do the back. The back is a little more work, as I showed with the 32 amp battery foam piece. There's quite a bit of cutting, right? So first we're gonna have to cut a few inches from here, just to length. So the 17 inches that we had measured earlier, we also gonna have to measure and cut to make for the bend that goes up. So let's go ahead and confirm, measure twice, cut once from the inside. It's about 17 inches, and I'm not accounting for the parts that curve up. So right at the bottom of the curve, that's where I'm stopping, and same on the other side. Sorry, I don't know if you can see that, but that's what I'm doing here. I'm not counting for the parts that start curving up. So what we need to do is, we need to take our measurements from here, 17 inches, and we're gonna score these in. Right, this is just a rough cut. Doesn't have to be perfect again. So 17 inches. And because it gets, sorry, I keep on holding the tank. As you can see, it is wider in the front, it gets narrower. Now, we're not gonna only do 3 inches, now we need to do more. So previously when we did 3, that was perfect for the front side of the tank. Now, I believe we'll need to do about 5, so let me confirm that real quick. Actually 4.5. So we'll go ahead and score 4.5 inches. Continue that line. And same on the other side. I'm gonna do 4.5 inches. All right. So once we have that in place, slowly cut that. And then we'll do the other side. Again, don't throw these pieces away. There's a very good chance we'll end up reusing them, especially for the side padding. As these sides kind of stick out, bulge out, we'll definitely need to put more on the inside. So these pieces are perfect for that. All right, so now let's revisit again the template, walk you through it. So now we did the 25 inch in length, already default 13 inches wide. We did a 3 by 5 inches here to get these out for the front. Same on the other side. On the back, however, I believe we did 3 by, well, we measured from here 17 inches, and then we cut sideways, and then for the actual depth of it, we ended up doing 4.5 inches. All right, so just a quick dry fit, putting that in there. You can already see the improvement, right? So all the different creases that we had, or not creases, sorry, the extra foam in there is now gone. This is folding in nicely. So technically, we really don't need the extra cuts that we have here. I cut these extra for the battery because it was a lot smaller, right? It was a lot thinner and just overall smaller. So I needed to make additional cuts. So for the 50 amp hour battery, this actually might seem sufficient. So let's go ahead and give it a quick test and see how that goes. All right, so as you saw, we just made the initial cuts. So now I'm just gonna test it, see how that fits in there. And what helps is trying to hold it on the inside. Initially, you could also put some pieces of tape, double-sided tape, or fold some tape just to hold it right. All right, so the back seems good. However, the front is still dipping, so we need plenty more. So what we need to measure for now is need to measure the height of the battery, right? So from about this point here is where we want it to be leveled. We need to have no more than 5 inches of space on the inside. So anything that's in excess of 5 inches will need to be filled. So let's go back to the other angle and show you what I mean. All right, so we said we don't want more than 5 inches for the battery. So when we take this out, the height is 7 inches. So we need at least 2 inches of foam between the top of the battery, the top of the inside of the battery tank, and the battery itself. So we'll go ahead and make sure that we have at least 5 inches. So we just determined that we don't need to make any additional cuts. Just double check real quick. We don't need to make any additional cuts for it to fit. So this is good. And then let's measure the side as well. So the width of the battery is about 6 inches, which the back side, let me show you. The back side of it is actually perfect. So we don't have to add any foam on the bottom half or the back half of the tank. What we need to do is just focus on these sides that bulge out and the top itself. So from here to here, that's about 7 inches, well, 6 inches, and then this is an extra inch. That's part of the frame. So we'll have to make sure that we account for the full sides that bulge out and the height of the frame as well. So to do that, we'll go ahead again, measure. So what we need to measure for now is really just the length of the thicker area, which is about, I would say 10 inches. So I'm cutting it a little less. So even though maybe you can see here, if you pause the video, you'll see it's more at 11. I'm cutting it at 10 inches for a reason, because I don't want it to get on the sides and then, you know, make it uneven. So I'd rather have it a little smaller and add more later than have it be too big. I know from experience a little less is better in this case. Normally people tell you, you know, it's easier to take out than add, but in this scenario it's actually the other way around. So we'll go ahead and measure 10 inches. Score the foam, 10 inches on the other side. And again, this really does not have to be perfect. It has to be close enough. And then what we'll be doing actually is we'll be cutting it in half like that as well. So 13 inches, we'll need 6.5 inches. So this is our middle. And then what we'll do is we'll actually fold it, and then we'll do another one, unfold it, and that will give us the 2 to 3 inches that we needed. Apologize, work in my garage. Can't open the garage door because it's freezing outside. Virginia weather is weird. So literally last week we had beautiful, perfect spring weather. Now it's unbearable. So I scored the other end again. All right, so combined now we have about, let's see, about an inch and a half. So we said we need 7, let's see, that's 6, 7. So we have about an inch and a half of room to play with. Let's see, 5. So we need at least one more piece of these. I'll do 2 anyway, just to compress it. So we'll do the same thing here. So 10 inches. We'll do 10. It's core. 10. It's core. And then 6.5 in width. And score that. So when we squish them together, they'll be fine. 6.5 this way as well, because 13 divided by 2. All right, so now we have 4 of these plus the original layer. That should give us, so this here alone is about 1 3/4 inches, and then that is about a little over 1/2 inch. So we should be able to push these down together. Fine, all right, let's see how they fit inside the tank. All right. So this is exactly what I was talking about. I wanted them to be right before where it tapers in. So we want it like that. So we have about 4 of these, 10 by 6.5. Let me go ahead and get some tape so we can tape them together real quick. Right, so we got the tape now. We take little pieces just to hold them together. Obviously, it's just easier to test when we do that. Tape it like that on all 4 sides. Do the same here. Hold it together nicely. Last side. Alright, so it holds them together nicely in there. Alright, so let's test the fitment one more time. Throw that in there. By the way, if you see me rushing a little bit, apologize. I do have a soccer game to go catch, so I'm just trying to make sure that I come to a good stop before we move on. Alright, so you can see how that fits in there, and how, if you remember earlier, I didn't necessarily do the full length for that very reason, because we're gonna stuff some underneath, and this ends up being pushed up. So this is perfect right now. So the other thing that we need to account for is the width of the battery. So we said the battery is about a little less than 6 inches. The width of the tank is about, from the areas that bulge out, it's about 9.5. So we need about 3.5 inches to fill in there, combined, right? So 3.5 inches. This is where the scrap pieces come in play. These alone are about 1.5 inches. So we'll just need more of these. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna cut bigger pieces, right? So I'm gonna cut some bigger pieces at the height of this, which is about 4 inches. So I want them to be 4 inches high. And you'll see by the end of this, we'll end up using the entire tank, the entire roll of foam. So about 4 inches high is what we want. And I'm just gonna score it twice because I'm gonna need 2 of them, so 4 and 8. Then on the other side, I'm also gonna do 4 and then 8. All right. And then we're just gonna use our handy dandy stick. Score that. That first one was not as clean as I wanted it to be. All right, so peel that off, peel this off. So now what we have is essentially 2 pockets that we're gonna fold. What we're gonna do is, we don't need to cut it in the middle. What we're gonna do is, we're gonna fit these 2 in the middle, fold it over the scrap, and then we'll tape that together, and we will end up stuffing that in there. So we got, just like how we did before, take little pieces of tape. You can use duct tape, any kind of tape you want. This is what I have handy right now. Put little pieces on the side as well, so you can hold it good. All right, so essentially what will happen is once I do the second one, what we do with this is we tuck it behind here, and then, that actually might be a little too much. Let's see. Yeah, that might be a little too much, so I need to take one of the inside pieces out. So, one of the scrap pieces here, I'm just gonna take one of them out. You take that. All right, so again, for the second one, we're just gonna take one piece instead of two, fold it, and tape it. And also tape the sides. Keep it nice and flat. As you can see, packing tape works just as well as anything else. All right, so now essentially what we end up with is a stack of 4 10 by 6.5 taped together. That goes in the bottom, right? We have 2 13 by 4 that are folded with one of the scrap pieces stuffed on the inside. So we have that. This goes on the inside here. Tucked in nicely in there. So essentially this is what we're working with. And then the final piece is this that we cut early on with the wider side towards the front. So we stuff that in there. Make sure it's nice and tight. And once you actually make sure that it fits perfectly on the battery, go ahead and do yourself a favor. Tape the outside or the this piece here to the side pieces, so when you're stuffing it in, it's not getting caught on the edges. So let's go ahead and give it a quick test and see how it goes. All right, so here's the moment of truth. Just gonna hold it in from the inside like that. Just hold the outside in. You can even fold these out a little bit. They'll end up getting pushed in anyway. Drop the tank from the top. Make sure the front lip is actually towards the front of the tank. The sides are good, and same with the back as well. Make sure it all is dust. All right, so make sure that fits in nicely in there. Push it, careful, watch for the cables. All right, look at that. This is even without, it's already holding tight. Look how tight that is, without any of the straps or the seat covering, holding down on the back. All right, so let's go ahead and finish installing it. Put back the seat. I didn't even need to use the extra pieces that I took out from the, these were extra pieces again that were around the 32 amp battery because it's a lot smaller to hold it in the frame. I didn't even need to use these. So we'll put that to the side. So now we'll go ahead and install the seat, put the straps back, and see how the end product is. All right, so reverse order. Where's my screw? Got my keys in my pocket. This is always the struggle, guys. You gotta find where that little screw is. Where is it? Let me see. All right, well now this is gonna be a quick, I'm gonna speed this up while I look for the screw, and then I'll be back. Found it. All right. So make sure that nothing is in the way in terms of the wires. Tuck them in nicely. They don't need to be pretty on the inside, but you need to be careful because where the screw goes in, you don't want to pinch any wires in. So you have these two little things that you have to align there. Best way to align them is from the back, like so, when you're looking at it. Then you push it in. All right. And then make sure that none of the cables are pinched. Then you come around here, and then you'll align. You can look inside, and you can actually align the tank, the seat to the tank, the seat to the hole. So the two holes are aligned. I can't speak today, so just go ahead and make sure that's nice and tight. And then now we'll just go around and make sure the straps on the front are in. Again, those straps are crucial to holding it down. All right, it's significantly harder to do it when you've stuffed the tanks. All right, so this is the final product. As you can see, it's significantly leveled. It's higher. It is definitely does not wobble. This is the whole bike moving right now versus what it was earlier. So this is very, it's in place. The seat is back. Everything is good. We got a 72 amp, 60 volt battery in there already. We just created the new foam. Can't even speak anymore. We custom cut the foam to fit on the inside, worked perfectly. I used one roll, or I bought one roll, and I ended up with a little more, right? So if you mess up, don't be afraid. You have a little extra. Again, this is the thicker foam. The thinner foam that I had gotten for my 32 amp battery is a lot thinner. So because this is thinner, I ended up using the entire roll. In this case here, I don't need to. So let me know, guys, what you think. This has been definitely a priority on my list. I definitely noticed it on my first ride where I was going around corners and I was hugging the tank with my knees and it was shifting with me back and forth, and that definitely did not feel secure for me. So this is a huge advantage. One other huge advantage that is that you also gain here. So like I said, it does level it for you. It stabilizes it in terms of side-to-side wobble, as well as reduces the need for a tank stabilizer or leveler, they call it. So the tank leveler was not very popular for people because when you installed it there, it limited how much you could turn the bar. So that was just in the way that people hated it. So people who had it, loved it for the looks, and also definitely agreed that it was more noticeable inside the garage, moving the bike around. But when you're on the road, when you're leaning and turning and stuff like that, you don't really feel it. So I'm honestly all for the tank leveler. I see both points of view, but I like having it. They sold out, or not sold out, they stopped selling it. So I don't really have an option. So this is my next best option here. And it solved all of the problems in one solution. You just gotta take your time. This is my second time doing it. So that's why I was a little quicker. I knew kind of what to do, was referencing the old one. And it came out pretty well. You can see, I'll do some after shots and you can see how leveled it is compared to before, how it just dropped underneath. You can see how stable it is. So I'm definitely happy with it. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comment section below, or DM me on Instagram, HuckDiary, and I'll be more than happy to respond to you. What was that? Okay, it's definitely windy. It's crazy out there. Cool. You guys take care. Come for the how-tos and stay for the Huck. Thank you.